Namaste. Welcome to another edition of Navimash podcast. So today it's our second podcast for the day, and today we're going to talk about not well discussed, well covered in the mainstream media. That is the legacy of Hindu faith, Hinduism, in the greater India. We can call it Southeast Asia region, and how the glorious legacy of Sanatan Dharma in Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, Cambodia, how it has shaped the region, and how 500-year-old prophecy is coming true in when we are living now. So we're going to talk about the book. Uh, Let me just share the book status as well. We're going to read through the book. The book is available on various platforms, as well as the book is available free of cost as well. It has been published through Suruchi Prakashan. So let me just share the screen first to everybody. So today we are going to talk about this specific book, Hindu Resurgence in Indonesia, inspiring story of millions of Muslims going back and embracing going back to their roots and embracing Hinduism once again. So this is a book. This is a book published by Suruchi Prakashan. Okay. And also you can get the book in Google Books as well. So let me just share that as well. So in Google Books, you will be able to actually download the book and read the book as well. So you can download let me increase the font as well so people can see. So here, if you see, go to Google Books edition, the book is being made available by the publishers, and we thank the publishers for making the book available to the wider audience if they're unable to purchase it. So you can download the PDF and you can read the book as well. And today we are going to have an audience interaction session. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste. Yeah, Namaste Abhay. I'm going to actually invite people to, let me see. Cool. I'm going to provide the link as well to the podcast of people who want to contribute. They can come and do this and talk to us, share their feedback, share their views on it. Let me pin this as well. And then we also have a small presentation that we have prepared. So we will discuss that as well. So let me first go there and pin that link for people to actually, yeah, link is pinned. That should be good enough. So let's start. Okay, so let's see. Where is it? Yeah, it is here. Now let me again prepare the presentation. And one more thing. So tomorrow in the afternoon, most probably, we will have Professor Ajay Chaturvedi joining us again after a month of hiatus for various uh, reasons. We could not get him on our podcast. He will be available tomorrow. And tomorrow is going to be a special broadcast where we are going to talk about both the books. Primarily the first book, Time, Kala Darshana, Building Blocks of Time. We're going to discuss some interesting questions regarding our lives and how time as a universal concept affects our lives and how it can actually improve our lives. So we are going to do an audience session as well, where you'll be able to ask the author of the book, uh, Professor Ajay Chaturvedi, on the question. So we will discuss my questions, and you can also ask your questions as well. So we are going to have multiples of audience interaction sessions that we will have. So do stay tuned for that as well. So tomorrow we have one more session with the author Anita Bose as well, where she will be giving a talk in English for her book on Padachitra, on Lord Jagannath and the history of Padachitra in Odisha specifically. Now let's go ahead and start reading the book. Let me get the book prepared. Okay, before we read the book, let's do the presentation. So, what we are talking about? We are talking about Indonesia's Hindu revival. Okay, audience, do let me know if you can see the graphics, or I need to increase the. I think it's pretty big, but do let me know if you're able to see it. So we'll go through the small presentation, and then we are going to read the book eventually. Yeah. So we know about the country of Indonesia, which is now the largest Muslim majority country in the world. But in ancient times, 500 years ago, or even earlier, it was a kind of a Hindu Buddhist country itself, with numerous temples, pagodas, indigenous communities practicing their own faith, own spirituality. But what we have right now is that the language spoken by Indonesia is called Bhasha Indonesia. So, of the Bhasha Indonesia language family, language that is spoken there, 25% of the vocabulary of the Bhasha Indonesia is Sanskrit. And there is an ancient prophecy, okay, it's called Sabda Palon, which, which states that Indonesians will be going back to their roots, their Buddhist and Hindu heritage, and they will be embracing the Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma means Hinduism primarily, the Vedic Dharma, and we have seen uh, pockets where based centered around the temples of Indonesia, people have been embracing Hinduism and trying to improve their lives a little bit more. As of now, we have Bali. Bali is an island. I think a lot of people would know the island of Bali is very famous for its white sandy beaches, green fields, and mountains, volcanoes, and beaches as well. So 93% of the Bali population is Hindu till now, today. So what is this ancient prophecy? After 500 years of decline, when the people need it most, the Dharma will return to the land of temples. The children of Majah- Majapahit will remember their true heritage. This is the prophecy done 500 years ago. So, and we are talking about the Majapahit Empire, where the prophecy happened. And here's a little bit of a historical time graph. So, 13th and 16th century, the Majapahit Empire's golden age. Hindu Buddhist empire spans across Indonesia, leaving temples like Prambanan and cultural legacy. 16th century, Sabda Palon prophecy. Ancient predictions foretells the Hinduism's return after 500 years of decline. In 1965, the state religion requirement, indigenous groups chosen Hinduism to preserve their traditions and avoid forced conversion. 1959 to present, Parishad Hindu Dharma Indonesia, organization, organization standardizing practices and advocates for Hindu rights and temple reconstruction. 2000s and today, modern Renaissance, urban Javanese embrace Hindu philosophy, massive temple projects, and cultural pride resurges. So this is a very small presentation that we had to give a context to the book that we are going to read. Okay, I need to get the book as well. Let me get that as well. Yeah, so we have the so here is the book that we're going to read today. This book is being provided by the publishers via the Google Books. So we thank the publisher and Google for helping us to read the book. So okay, do let me know if you can read the text so that we can go ahead and start reading this. And in the meanwhile, before we go there, I would request everyone watching, do consider buying the book. The link, I will be sharing this in the chat as well. And also the book link will be available in also the in the podcast description as well. Description. So if you can, go ahead and buy the book and support the publication house and the author who have done a great job in documenting this important aspect of our civilization. So let's go ahead and read the book. People, if you are having any issue while reading text, do let us know. Namaste, Namaste Abhay. Java and Sumatra were almost completely Hindu. Yes, yes. We'll read, and we'll discover one by one. Let's go ahead and start reading the book. We'll not go through this. We'll just yeah. Let's start from here. Hindu resurgence in Indonesia. This is the astonishing and inspiring story of lakhs, millions of Muslims returning to their ancestral faith of Hinduism in this decade in a country with the largest Muslim population in the world. Increasing anti-Hindu terrorism in Indonesia. 240 people died when the deadliest act of terrorism in the history of Indonesia occurred on 12th October 2012 in the island of Bali. A further 250 people were injured. 26 people died and over 100 were injured in a series of terrorist bombs and a series of car bombs and attacks that occurred on October 1st, 2005, again in Bali. So, this is the very famous incident where a lot of foreign people, also foreign tourists, especially Australians, were actually injured and they lost their lives. Hindus in South Lampung in the island of Sumatra have been targeted by the local Muslims in October November 2012. Over 14 have died and almost thousands dispersed from their homes. More and more Muslim organizations are targeting Hindus all over Indonesia. The courage of Indonesian Hindus to uphold Dharma and culture in the midst of dangers is a matter of pride for Hindus all over the globe. Imam Samudra, also known as Abdul Aziz, convicted and executed for Bali bombings, confessed that Bali was chosen because it is a Hindu majority island. Ifa Sudevi is the first female judge to be appointed to the 2002 Bali bombing trials. Educated in Solo, Java, she became a judge in 1990. She grew up as a Muslim but converted to Hinduism later in life. Hindu resurgence in Indonesia. Okay. Hinduism in Southeast Asia and greater ancestry. So here we see the map. Let me check comments as well. Fine, no comments. Hinduism in Southeast Asia gave birth to several empires and civilizations like the former Champa civilization in southern parts of central Vietnam. Champa civilization is very well known in Vietnam. There are books as well on this, so people can do the research. It was a great civilization building temples. They were primarily Shivites. They worship Shiva, so it's very well known across Vietnam and Southeast Asia as well. Civilizations like Champa civilization in southern parts of central Vietnam, Funan Empire in Cambodia, the Khmer Empire in Indochina, Lankus, Lankusa Kingdom. Forgive me for the pronunciation. I might not be pronouncing it correctly. We'll try. So Lankasuka Kingdom, Ganga, Negara, and Old Kedah kingdoms in Malay Peninsula, the Srivijaya kingdom on Sumatra, the Singhasari kingdom, and the Majapahit Empire based in Java, Bali, and the Philippine archipelago. The civilization of India influenced the languages, scripts, calendars, and artistic aspects of these peoples and nations. Hinduism arrived in Southeast Asia in the first century and played an active role for 1600 years. Unfortunately, Indians who should be legitimately proud of these unique and glorious chapters in world history are clearly oblivious to them. What great ancestors of what scale and stature, and such poor and piteous descendants. Prominent Hindus like Dr. Raghu Veera, Dr. Satyavat Shastri. Okay, very interesting. We let me see if I have the book as well or not. No, I don't think I have the book. Yeah, I have it. So, to see here is prominent Hindus like Dr. Raghu Veera, Dr. Satyavat Shastri. So, I have a book written by, let me just, yeah. So, I have a book written by Dr. Satyavat Shastri. You can see here. Its name is Human Values, Definitions and Interpretations, Volume 1. So Dr. Satyavat Shastri is a great scholar who has written a lot of good books, excellent books actually, on Indian history, philosophy. So if you can, do read about them. Okay. Let me check. Something is wrong. Okay, what happened? Yeah, let it be like this. Yeah, Dr. Amarjeev Lochan, Dr. S.M. Ponia, Dr. Lokeshwar Chandra, Dada Saheb Apte, Lakshman Rao Bhide, Lallan Prasad Vyas, Dr. Shankar Tattwavadi, Rajesh Madholkar, Swami Vigyananda, and Dr. Ram Nivas and Ravi Kumar, author, have visited Southeast. So these all have been authors and prominent people who have visited Southeast Asia several times for the purpose of exploring and explaining Hinduism in these places. And we are thankful for them for doing their effort and trying to documenting this. Pioneering work in Southeast Asia. George Codes, pronounced as George as Sidis, George Sidis, 1886 to 1969, was a 20th century scholar of Southeast Asian archipelago and history. Sidis Seeds was Seeds was born in Paris to a family of supposed Hungarian Jewish emigres. Seeds became director of the National Library of Thailand in 1918 and in 1929 became director of L'École Française in Extreme Orient, where he remained until 1946. Thereafter, he lived in Paris until he died in 1969. He wrote two seminal texts in the field: the Indianized the Indianized States of Southeast Asia, 1968 and 1975, and the Making of Southeast Asia, 1966, as well as innumerable articles in which he developed the concept of the Indianization of kingdom. Perhaps his greatest lasting scholarly accomplishment was his work on, on Sanskrit and Old Khmer inscriptions from Cambodia. In addition to dozens of articles, his eight-volume work, Inscriptions du Cambodge, 1937 to 1966, contained editions and translations of over 1,000 inscriptions from pre-Angkorian and Angkor era monuments and stands as Seed's magnum opus. George Seeds is credited with rediscovering the former kingdom of Srivijaya, centered around the modern-day Indonesian city of Palembang, but with influence extending from Sumatra through to the Malay Peninsula and Java. Some Indonesians, including those of the Palembang area, had not heard of Srivijaya until the 1920s, when Sees published his discoveries and interpretations in Dutch and Indonesian language newspapers. However, among the educated elite and nobility, the history of successive kingdoms and their fates and royal lineage were well known. Wikipedia. Hinduism in Indonesia. Non-Indian Hindus. Indonesia is a secular country with the largest Muslim population in the world. It is a unique cauldron of cultures. 18 million, 1 crore 80 lakh people practicing Hinduism in Indonesia as on 2007, according to the Parisada Hindu Dharma, are the largest non-Indian ethnic Hindus in the world. This is important that to be noted that apart from India, the largest non-Indian Hindu population is in Indonesia, in the Indonesian archipelago. Non-Indian Hindus in smaller numbers are also live in Southeast Asian countries like Thailand, Thai Brahmins, Vietnam, and Malaysia. Malacca Chettis. Thai Brahmins is interesting. We'll going to discuss them later as well. Continuously increasing number of ISKCON devotees are also non-Indian Hindus. Indonesian Hindus form the third largest Hindu populated country in the world after Bharat, 100 crore, and Nepal, 2.5 crore. Other countries with large Hindu populations are Bangladesh, 1.2 crores, Pakistan, 70 lakhs, and Sri Lanka, with 25 lakhs. Majority of the Indonesian Hindus are located in Bali Islands, Java, Sumatra, Lombok, Kalimantan, and Sulawesi. The other islands also have significant Hindu population. Central Kalimantan has 50% Hindu population. In recent times, several lakhs of Javanese have returned to their ancestral Hindu faith. Here we see how 1 million is 10 lakhs, which is given for the readers to understand the numbers. Roma or Gypsies, the lost children of Mother India. 14 million Roma or Gypsies of Europe have an Indian origin. They say that the Gypsies migrated to Europe about a thousand to about a thousand to a 1,500 years ago from the areas of Sindh and Rajasthan. There is an anecdote that tells about how the Sassanid monarch Bahram Gul, who ruled Persia during the 5th century 420 to 438 AD, requested the Indian king and imported around 10,000 musicians and dancers from Hindustan, Rajasthan, Punjab, and Sindh, and established their colonies all over this country. According to the popular theories, many of these ancient artists continued their migration to Byzantine and Europe. Many more Roma left India during the Islamic invasion, starting from Muhammad Ghazni in 1001 CE Common Era. These artistic, these artistic, mild, and peace-loving people have contributed enormously to the knowledge, music, dance, culture, science, technology, health schemes, and religious faith of Europe. They have deeply influenced the music of Russia, the Mediterranean, and the Balkans. The Gypsies who arrived in Spain integrated with the Sephardic Jews and gave birth to a flamenco music. Interesting. Indeed, flamenco dance today can be seen to be closely resemble Indian classical dance, but they are the unsung heroes of human history since their contribution have remained obscure. On the other hand, they were and also are being religiously and ethnically persecuted, hunted, humiliated, and targeted throughout history. 1 million of them were burnt in Nazi gas chambers, and we never talk about it. If you can imagine that there are 6 million Jews who perished in the Holocaust, but we forget and we did not talk about it. 1 million gypsies or Roma gypsies who were killed in the Nazi gas chambers. and there is no memorial, there is no books, no movies about them. Thousands of their volunteers and midwives were tortured and killed during Inquisition periods in Europe. Nobel laureate Dr. August Krok of Denmark for medicine in 1920. So these are the famous people. Brazilian presidents Washington Luiz 1926-30 and uh, Jusle okay, Juscelino Kubitschek, I don't know how to pronounce his name, 1956 to 61. Actor Sir Charles Chaplin, Sir Michael Caine, Yul Brynner, James Bond heroes like Sean Connery and Roger Moore, and singer Elvis Presley. Several Olympic medal winners have been gypsies of Indian origin. Okay, that's interesting. So Dr. August Krog, Denmark for medicine 1922. Brazilian president Washington Louis. They were all famous people, politicians, artists, singers, actors, and they have their descendants being Indian gypsies. Antiquity of Indonesian Hindus. Prior to the arrival of the Abrahamic faith of Christianity and Islam, the popular belief system in the region were thoroughly influenced by Dharmic religious philosophy through Hinduism and Buddhism. Hinduism and Buddhism arrived in the Indonesian archipelago as early as 1st century. Let me check the comments. Ah, that's interesting. Okay. Okay, Shaptorshi, you can join the stream in about half an hour. Let's read through the terms. So I will announce it on the chat itself. Then you can join it. Let's read a little bit more about it so that we can have a better talk about it, discussion about it. Hinduism and Buddhism arrived in the Indonesian archipelago as early as 1st century. This resulted in a number of Hinduism-Buddhism empires such as Kutai, Mataram, Srivijaya, Majapahit, etc. The greatest Hindu kingdom in Indonesia was Majapahit Empire, the age-old Hindu-Buddhist empire. Interesting. Uh, Take a note. Today, we see a lot of division being created by neo-Buddhists who call who are trying to propagate uh, a perception, a perspective that Buddhism was born out of uh, maybe we can say as opposition to Sanatan or Hindu philosophy or Hindu faith. But we see here that it's like a hyphenated Hindu Buddhist kingdoms. It means both of these uh, thoughts, philosophies coexisted and enriched each other and embraced each other's philosophies and rituals, exchange them whenever there was a requirement. The age-old Hindu-Buddhist empires lasted until the 16th century, when the archipelago's Islamic empires began to expand. This Hindu Indonesia period that lasted 16 centuries is known as the golden period of Indonesia. The influence of Hinduism and classical India remain defining traits of Indonesian language and culture. The Indian concept of God King still shapes Indonesian concepts of leadership, and Sanskrit is used in courtly literature and adaptations of Indian epic poetry. The Prambanan temple complex was built during the era of Hindu Mataram in 19th century in the central Java near Yogyakarta. It is dedicated to the it is dedicated to the Trimurti, the expression of God as the creator, Brahma, the sustainer, Vishnu, and the destroyer, Shiva. Originally, there were 240 temples in this temple compound. The temple, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is the largest Hindu temple in Indonesia. and is one of the largest Hindu temples in Southeast Asia. It is characterized by its tall and pointed architecture, typical of Hindu temple architecture, and by by towering 47-meter high, 154 feet central building inside a large complex of individual temples. One of the most majestic temples in Southeast Asia, Prambanan attracts many visitors from across the world. Barabador or Barabador is another 9th century monument built in the reign of Shailendra dynasty. It is also located in central Java near Yogyakarta. It is a Mahayana Buddhist monument. The, the, the monument consists of six, six square platforms topped by three circular platforms and is decorated with 2,672 relief panels and 504 Buddha statues. A main dome located at the center of the top platform is surrounded by 72 Buddha statues seated inside a perforated stupa. The monument is both a shrine to the Lord Buddha and a place for Buddhist pilgrimages. Once a year, Buddhists in Indonesia celebrate Vesak. So the word is Baisak. Baisak is the month, first month in the Indian calendar. Here it is called Vesak at the monument. And Barabador is Indonesia's single most, and Barabador is Indonesia's single most visited tourist attraction. The monument is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Religious beliefs and caste system. Hinduism in Indonesia is conspicuously different from India as they never applied the Indian caste system rigidly. The Balinese caste system is a system of social organization similar to and yet different from the Indian caste system. There are only four Balinese castes. The four castes, the four castes of Bali are Shudras, peasants making up more than 90% of the Balinese population; Vaishya, business people; the caste of merchants and administrative officials; Kshatriyas, the warrior caste. It also includes some nobility and kings; and Brahmins, holy men and priests. Nowadays, the caste system is used more in religious settings where the member of the other caste would ask the member of the Brahman caste, the Pedantas or Pandit, to conduct ceremonies. During the second during the second half of sixth century, Bali had a strong Kshatriya ruling dynasty. Most of the Kshatriya families in Java and Bali became extinct during the fall of the Hindu Majapahit Empire and the numerous Javanese wars. Almost all of the Balinese Kshatriyas trace their origin to the royal family of King Dev Deva Agung, who ruled 500 years before. Some of the original Kshatriyas, like those claiming descent from Arya Damar, were relegated to Vaishya status. Okay, interesting. The fluid nature of caste system, where they were Kshatriyas, now they became merchants, Vaishyas. Altogether, Kshatriya constitute around 4% of the total Balinese Hindu population. Jamu or Indonesian Ayurveda. Okay, that's interesting. Jamu is traditional medicine in Indonesia. It is heavily influenced by Ayurveda from India. It is predominantly herbal medicine made from natural materials, such as parts of plants such as roots, leaves, and bark, and fruit. There is also material from the bodies of animals, such as bile of goat or alligator used. In many large cities, Jamu herbal medicine is sold on the street by hawkers carry a refreshing drink. Okay, interesting. Usually bitter but sweetened with honey. Herbal medicine is also produced in factories by large companies such as Air okay, Air Mankur, uh, Noina Minir, or Jamu Jago, and sold at various drugstores in sachet packaging. Nowadays, herbal medicine is also sold in the form of powders, tablets, caplets, and capsules. Hindu resurgence in Indonesia. For 1600 years, from 1st century Common Era onwards, Indonesia was predominantly a Hindu country. Muslims from Arabia, Kerala, and Gujarat slowly converted them to Islam in the last 5 centuries. Today, Indonesia is the world's largest Muslim country. It is still a wonder that over 6 million Hindus of Bali and Java Island have withstood the onslaught of conversions to Islam and Christianity for the past 400 years without much help from Bharat. Similarities with indigenous belief systems. In the recent years, the resurgence of Hinduism in Indonesia is occurred in all parts of the country. While religious freedom is stipulated in the Indonesian constitution, the government officially recognizes only six religions: Islam, Protestantism, Roman Catholicism, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Confucianism. And the government do not recognize indigenous tribal belief systems as official religion. Persons lacking affiliation with the state with the state recognized religion tended to be classed as atheist and hence suspected as communist. An attempt an attempted coup on 30th September 1965 was countered by the army who led a violent anti-communist purge, during which the Communist Party of Indonesia (PKI) was blamed for the coup and effectively destroyed. Around 500,000 people are estimated to have been killed. It was life and death situation for millions of Aborigines, for they had to maintain their identity and also declare their affiliation to one of the recognized religions. The followers of various native animistic religions see many similarities between their practice and Hindu practice. Both often, both of them have reverence for Mother Nature and worship nature in many forms. Hindus believe in Hindus believe in five Mahatattva's, namely earth, water, fire, wind, and space. Hindus do not believe in forcefully converting others to their religion and do not look down upon other gods and modes of worship. In the early 70s, the Toraya people, Toraya people of Sulawesi were the first to realize this opportunity by seeking shelter for their indigenous ancestral religion under the broad umbrella of Hinduism, followed followed by the Karo Batak of Sumatra in 1977 and the Gaju Dayak of Kalimantan in 1980. Followers of various native animist and tribal religions such as Dayak, Kaharigan, Manusela, and Nualu people of Teram, Tana Toraya of Sulawesi, Sudan, Sandanese, Sunda Wiwitan, Torayan Aluk to Dolo, and Batak Mali have also identified themselves as Hindus in order to survive and avoid pressure to convert to Islam or Christianity. Affiliated to Hinduism, they are still able to maintain their distinct identity. Lakhs of tribal people who have identified themselves as Muslims in the wake of 1965 purge are now changing their identities to Hinduism. Hindu resurgence among Muslims of Java. We will open the stream in about 15 minutes. Okay, we'll just read through this last part and then we'll talk about it. In a report in 1999, the National Indonesian Bureau of Statistics admitted that around 100,000 Javanese had officially reconverted from Islam to Hinduism over the previous 2 decades. There are several reasons for their reconversion. The Ministry of Religious Affairs, as of 2007, estimates there to be at least 10 million, 1 crore Hindus in Indonesia, 18 million or 1 crore 80 lakhs according to Parisad Hindu Dharma Indonesia. So there's a difference between the numbers by the government and also by the Parisad Hindu Dharma, the official organization of Hindus. Java is the world's most populous island and one of the most densely populated places on the globe. It has a population of 13.5 crores, 135 million. Java is the home of 60% of the Indonesian population. The Indonesian capital city, Jakarta, is located on Western Java. Much of the Indonesian history took place on Java. It was the center of powerful Hindu-Buddhist empires, the Islamic Sultanate, and the core of colonial Dutch East Indies. Java was also the center of the Indonesian struggle for independence during the 1930s and 1940s. Java dominates Indonesia politically, economically, and culturally. More than 90% of Java are Muslims. Java Muslims are divided between ancient traditional Abangang, Abangan, and the modern Santri. Santri is a very Sanskrit word. Abangan is also known as Javanese, Javanese religion, KGWN, or a non-orthodox Javanese Islam. The Abangan tend to be from village backgrounds. The Abangan tend to be from village backgrounds, and their belief system integrates Muslim elements with Hinduism, Buddhist, and animist folk traditions. In contrast, members of the Santri class are more likely to be urban dwellers and tend to be tend to be oriented to the mosque, the Quran, and perhaps to Islamic canon law, Sharia. During the 1965 anti-communist purge following a failed coup, army encouraged Santri to seek out communist members, PKI, among the Abangan. The killings extended to more than the killings extended to more than communist members. A few isolated communists, a few isolated communities in Java Island have, however, consistently upheld Hinduism as the primary mark of their public identity. One of these exceptions is the people of the remote Tanger, Tanger Highlands in the province of Eastern Java. Four reasons for Hindu resurgence among Muslims: inspirations from Hindu Majapahit Empire, influence of Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Sanskrit, Hindu temples or puras and puras or and religious sites, prophecies of Sabda Palon and Jayabaya, inspirations from Hindu Majapahit Empire. Indonesian nationalists have laid great stress on the achievements of the Majapahit Empire, a Hindu state that ruled most parts of Indonesia up to 16th century. This has helped attract many Indonesians to Hinduism. An example of resurgence around major archipelago remains sorry. An example of resurgence around the major archaeological remains of the ancient Hindu temple sites was observed in Troulan near Mojokerto, the capital of the legendary Hindu empire of Majapahit. A local Hindu movement a local Hindu movement is struggling to gain control of a newly excavated temple building, which they wish to see restored as a site of active Hindu worship. Interesting. The temple is to be dedicated to Gaja Mother, the man attributed with the transforming the small Hindu kingdom of Majapahit into an empire in the 14th century. Many recent reconverts to Hinduism had been members of the families of the Sukarno's PNI. This return to the religion of Majapahit Hinduism is a matter of nationalist pride. Gajah Mother, translated as Elephant General, 1290 AD to 1364 AD, was, according to Javanese old manuscripts, poems, and mythology, a powerful military leader and Majapahit or Prime Minister of the Majapahit Empire, credited with bringing the empire to its peak of glory. He delivered an oath called Sumpah Palapa, in which he vowed not to eat any food containing spices until he had conquered all the Southeast Asian archipelago of Nusantara for Majapahit. In modern Indonesia, he serves as an important national hero and a symbol of patriotism. Influence of Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Sanskrit language. Swami Vivekananda, Swami Vivekananda, what a name! He was one of the men who gave me so much inspiration. Inspiration to be strong, inspiration to be servant of God, inspiration to be a, a servant of my country, inspiration to be a servant of the poor, inspiration to be servant of mankind. Dr. Ahmad Sukarno, in his foreword to a book on Swami Vivekananda on the occasion of Swamiji's birth centenary. The way young puppet and way young Kulit performances, as well as Wayang Wong dance and other Javanese classical dances, are derived from episodes of Hindu epics Ramayana and Mahabharata. Although the majority of Javanese now identify as Muslim, they still practice these art forms. Hinduism has survived in varying degrees and forms on Java. Sri Sudarshan, Sri Sudarshan, who is an Indonesian Muslim and director of the art department, once explained, here in Indonesia, it is our custom to inscribe a verse of Mahabharata or Ramayana in the Javanese language on the tombstone when someone dies. Though we are Muslims, we deeply adore Ram and Krishna. At the famous 10th century Prambanan temple in central Java, dedicated to Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, the Ramayana is depicted in bas relief in several parts. The Sultan of Yugakarta, the Sultan of Yugakarta supports the daily performance of a leather puppet show in either Ramayana or Mahabharata in his palace annexure. He also subsidizes the world's only daily performance of dance ballet based on Ramayana, performed with the Paramban Towers as its backdrop. It's going to be a great sight if we can observe this and watch this in live. The highlight of the extraordinary show is that all the 200 artists are Muslims. When the leading actors were asked how they perform Ramayana with such passionate involvement, the spontaneous reply was, Islam is our religion, Ramayana is our culture. One of the most important landmarks of the Indonesian capital, Jakarta, is a gigantic modern sculpture, an extraordinary work of art of Krishna and Arjuna in the chariot with their horses almost flying. The Garuda is the national insignia of Indonesia. Their national air carrier is Garuda Airlines. The National Library of Indonesia is called Perpustakaan Ganesha or Ganesha Library. The Southeast Asian Games in 1997 used Sri Hanuman as its mascot. He is a popular figure of or a deity in all these countries. Hanuman, Hanumat, Anjaneya, Anjata, Maruti is known by different names in these countries. Hanuman in Hanuman in Balinese, Hanuman and Sengan, uh, Sengana in Javanese, okay, Haliman in Karabi, Anjat or Anujit in Khmer, uh, Hanuman or Huluman and Huanman. So we can see, correct, I can't pronounce all the names, but the Lord Hanuman is a very popular deity, and across the Southeast Asian region, it has a different name. And okay, I think it is time. Let's open the stream to the audience. So, audience, you can join. The link is there in the pinned comments. So you can go to the pinned comments and you can join the stream. So we'll be having an audience interaction, and we'll share the stream. And if you have something to say, please you can join the stream. Rishi, you can join. Abhay, also, if you want, you can also join. If you want to have share something, your thoughts on the book and the transformation taking place.